You're watching Good Day Tampa Bay, and the news starts now.
Well, now to another alleged scam here in the Bay Area. This week, Lieutenant Governor Jennifer Carroll resigned just one day after investigators questioned her about her ties to a company involved in a veterans scam. Investigators say the nonprofit Allied Veterans of the World was operating dozens of internet cafes, claiming the money was going to vets, but veterans weren't getting the funds, investigators say. Now all internet cafes, and they really have been under scrutiny for a long time now. Joining us today to discuss the legal angles of all of this, we have Assistant State Attorney Felix Vega.
Good morning, Kristen.
Back with us. Thank you for coming in. This investigation has really had so much fallout beyond just the criminal charges. Investigators say one of the key players was a man named Chad Burns. How is he accused of setting up Allied to pull all of this off? And why are these veterans charities easy targets?
Well, it became apparent in this 130-page application for the search warrant that outlined the entire scam that Chad Burns was running. Basically, Allied itself was a veterans charity that was set up in 1979, ran until about 2006. And that year, they applied for a gaming license, which would allow them to raise money through sweepstakes. And that's where the operative word comes in, is a sweepstakes versus casinos. But what Chad Burns did is he set up this whole internet operation whereby they turned into internet casinos, essentially. He raised about $290 million. Only 2% of it actually went to Allied Veterans, the charity, which was about $6 million over that 5-year period. And the allegations are that he, along with the internet cafe owners, pocketed the rest of this. So he was remotely running all these internet cafes from Oklahoma, where he was arrested earlier this week.
Just 2%.
2%, $6 million, and they're targets because, you know, everyone likes to donate to veterans organizations.
Yeah.
You know, look at the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War, all the wounded soldiers coming back, and all these charities have popped up. We've seen this happen a lot lately, and now we're trying to crack down on these types of charities, or scams, really, what they end up being.
And these internet cafes, how exactly do they cross the line from being a sweepstakes to a gambling operation? It sounds like there's a fine line.
There is a fine line, and what essentially happens, for example, if you went into an internet cafe today and you were new to the place, you would go in with your driver's license. They would give them all your information. Again, bad idea. You basically, on the entry form that you see there, would be agreeing that you're just buying internet time, that there's no purchase necessary for you to participate in these quote-unquote sweepstakes, and you agree that you're not gambling. So you sign this entry form. They essentially give you a little swipe card, and you go over to a desktop computer that's set up inside these internet cafes. You swipe your card, and then what ends up happening is you have to buy credits. The more credits you buy, the higher prizes that you can participate in, up to $5,000, $10,000, and it just increases from there. So it's no different than any of the desktop computers we have back in the newsroom. They're set up with a card reader. You swipe your card, and you're in the game. The problem is, unlike a lottery where you get an actual hard ticket, there's no finite way to determine whether or not you're the winner. And so the more credits you buy, if you don't use them, they go back into the system of the internet cafe, and then you eventually lose them if you don't come back. More money goes into the scam and for the owners of the cafes.
That is a very fine line.
Yes, it is. That's part of the problem with proving these cases.
Yeah, gambling is tightly regulated in Florida, and we're not just talking about casinos. Explain the different types of permits that are allowed for gambling.
Well, there's 28 what they call pari-mutuel facilities across the state of Florida, and they're separate and apart from the actual casinos themselves. And what ends up happening is you have like your dog tracks, your horse tracks, like we have Tampa Bay Downs, we have on Gandy Boulevard, we have Derby Lanes. And what the bottom line is, this is a huge money-making operation, but because there's so much money going through the casinos, and also take the casinos out of it, you see right there, $876 million in wagers just for those pari-mutuel facilities on betting. They also have card rooms where you can go in and play blackjack or poker. That generates another $131 million. You're looking at over $1 billion statewide just from those pari-mutuel facilities. One kennel club over in Daytona, they have a card room, $10.8 million. They actually take in more money in their card room than they do from any wagers on the dog track.
Wow. So what now? What happens now? Back to Jennifer Carroll. She abruptly resigned after FDLE questioned her and her connections to Allied Veterans. She's not been charged with doing anything wrong. But what's next for lawmakers?
Well, there's two things. We have basically a clip of an ad that Jennifer Carroll participated in where she was basically in an ad for Allied veterans and sponsoring it. You can see, take a look right here.
How hard it is for service members to be apart from their families. Allied veterans of the world is making it easier for them.
Had a PR firm, basically.
She had a PR firm in 2009, 2010, where she actually represented Allied veterans. That's how she became involved in it, and then went on to shoot this spot for them. Then when she, later on, it was discovered on Monday, she was confronted by FDLE investigators about her involvement in Allied veterans. She abruptly resigned on Tuesday. What's next for lawmakers at this point is that they've actually now introduced a bill in the House of Representatives. Actually, it was filed by Representative Carlos Trujillo in January. Actually, it went to a Senate or House committee on Friday. They passed it overwhelmingly, so it's going to go to the full vote in the House. Senate's doing the same thing. They anticipate this coming Monday. They want this bill to ban all internet cafes to go to the governor and be signed by the governor by the end of this month. So they're moving forward on it, and there's been no opposition from pari-mutuel facilities, the Greyhound industry, the horse track industry. No one's opposing this at this time.
So I wonder if it'll go through.
It looks like they're actually got their act together on this one. It's amazing we can't agree on gun control, but something like this, they're actually have already got the consensus together, overwhelming support to ban these internet cafes, because not only is it take away from the legitimate operations, but also you need to shut down an operation that adversely affects charities and really the good work that charities do, like a legitimate operation.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, Kristen. A lot to cover. We did.
Yes, yes, and you always do such a great job.
Thanks,
Thank you
Kristen.
so much.